Ring. Just to see if you still can. Why don't you ring once? I'm talking to a phone. How'd it get this way? Oh, that's right. I spent the last of my food money on an ad in a billboard, middle of nowhere. But hey, got my name out there. Malcolm Lockwell, starving attorney, looking for work. Please call. Take pity on this dumb face. Offices of Malcolm Lockwell, first, last, and only name in internet defense. We accept cash of all types, cashiers, checks, and sandwiches, if I'm being really honest. How may I help you?
Yeah, is your refrigerator running, or,
Yeah. Listen, kid, few things. One, it's 2015. Maybe crack open a joke book that's newer than the cotton gin. Two, no, my refrigerator is not running. Nothing in my house is running right now. I haven't been able to pay the bill in months, all right? I'm starving. Three, I'm a lawyer who went to school longer than you've been alive. So why don't you show a little respect... Hello? Hello? Can't even keep a prankster on the line. Listen, you little shit.
Malcolm Lockwell, I presume.
Yeah, what?
My associates and I have been observing you. We would like to extend an offer.
Look, kid, I can just barely hear you over the sound of my stomach eating itself. I don't really have the energy for jokes right now.
This is no joke. Our organization would like to make use of your services.
Why? Yes. Why didn't you call sooner? I'd be happy to accept you and your associates as clients. Let me explain the payment option so that we can get that out of the way.
Funds have been added to your account. Do not disappoint us.
Hey, wait a minute, Weird.
You've got mail.
Case details. Oh. Never let it be said I didn't like a challenge. It's showtime, folks. Ladies and gentlemen of the court, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. And the music swells. Reminisce with me, if you will, to a time before the internet, when Saturday night meant sitting on a couch in your darkened living room with nothing but a controller in your cheese poof-encrusted hands and the faint glow of the TV warming your face parts. You'd hook up your old Nintendo 64 entertainment machine and plug in your favorite game. It was a magical time, and we all remember it fondly. Especially if what was on that TV was The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. When that familiar music played up, oh, it was an orgiastic feast for your auditory canals. Or something. We all loved it. So why, good people of the internet, do you try to taint your memory by hating one of the characters in it? Sure, she's a constant nag, and she's always shrieking unneeded and unwarranted advice at you, but wasn't that all part of that early 3D magic? Part of the experience that we all hold so dear was dictated by my client today. Sometimes, literally. If it please the court, and I'm sure it won't, I'm Malcolm Lockwell, Internet Defender Extraordinaire, and I will be taking defense for Navi the Fairy from Ocarina of Time. As the sole officer of the court in this case, I will take it upon myself to explain the accusations against my client, which, frankly, I find egregious. Navi, the fairy and constant companion to Link along his journey through the vast reaches of Hyrule and the mysterious corridors of time, is often considered the worst aspect of this otherwise untouchable game. She's annoying, they'll say. She's shrill and is an unnecessary distraction, they'll say. And frankly, I agree with them. Who among us could argue that Navi is a pest? She's annoying, I'll concede that. But it's this next bit of criticism that shies away from gut-wrench, shoot-from-the-hip ad hominem attacks that really gets my lawn, folks. The #1 accusation against Navi is that she serves no point to the person playing the game. And to that, I let out a mighty guffaw. Guffaw ha ha. She's just an elongated tutorial. She constantly breaks the flow. She's an insult to the player's intelligence. All of these and much more are bandied about by the internet with reckless abandon. People of the court, I implore you, how many more innocent straw men must you construct and then burn down? They've done nothing to you. And yes, the game is technically your experience, so by all means, be annoyed with my client. Hate her if you must. But I put it to you that the game designers of this fantastic experience had more in mind than just annoying the character when they created Navi. In fact, I dare say that Navi is integral to the video games as art argument. For those of you who have spent the better part of 2 decades living at the corner of Under a Rock and Clueless, allow me to recap the story of Ocarina of Time. We're introduced to Link, our hero and personal avatar for the game, as early as the very beginning of the story. But what do we really know about him? Well, not all that much. We know that he lives with the Kokiri, an eternally youthful forest-dwelling race, but we also know that he is not one of the Kokiri himself, as evidenced by the fact that he has not received a fairy companion yet. So all we really know at this point is that Link is an outsider with no real place of his own. Oh, and apparently he's not much of a talker. This, dear Internet, is what we call theming. So, Link is a silent protagonist who also happens to be what we in the business call a fish out of water. That is to say, he has just as much experience in this fantastical world as us, and therefore the player can easily place him or herself in Link's mindset. We don't get Zora culture, Link doesn't get Zora culture. We get scared of Re-Dead, Link gets scarred for life by Re-Dead. We don't immediately know how to fight Ganon, or who he is even, and Link doesn't either. Because of Link's circumstances, we immediately feel a kinship with him. But what does this have to do with Navi, I hear you asking? Well, stick with me, folks. I'm building to something here. Trust me. And hey, if you can't trust a lawyer on the internet, who can you trust? Well, Navi is who brings Link to the Great Deku Tree and effectively begins his journey. The story starts because Navi is called upon to help Link, and thereby the player, figure out his way around this new and exciting 3D Hyrule adventure. This is important for no less than 2 reasons, both from a gameplay and storytelling perspective. The first being, Navi becomes your guide, and although her little interruptions are annoying, they are sometimes necessary, or at the very least helpful. You're telling me the first time you fought a Stalfos as a kid, you knew exactly how to handle it? Navi provided enough information on enemies' weak points so that you weren't completely lost. Secondly, Navi is Link's, and therefore the player's, friend. Navi, whether you like her or not, is a constant companion along your adventure. This is something that persists, albeit with varying degrees of success, that has become as integral to the Zelda formula as the bow and arrow or collecting rupees. Link, by definition of character, is an outsider with no connection to the world of Hyrule other than it is his destiny to save it, and so we need Navi to bridge that gap. Which at last brings me to my point. Navi is the purest representation of one of the most important themes in this game. Heroes often have the world thrust upon their shoulders, but they rarely need to go through it alone. The townsfolk you help, the sages, the Great Deku Tree, Princess Zelda, and yes, even Navi become your friends to help you throughout your journey to save the world. If you strip Ocarina of Time of its characters, there's no chance that Link could have managed to defeat Ganondorf on his own. And since we are Link, neither could we. Friends are the most important resource in the game. I mean, take Big Man G-Star as a counterexample. Old Jeezy Boy ain't getting help from nobody, man. He is the literal king of evil, blinded by his own rage and hate to the point of transforming into a giant pig monster occasionally. A giant pig monster which, by the way, is defeated with the help of Navi and her Z-targeting abilities. In fact, Navi risks her life to help in the final fight between Link and Ganon, not only because it's her duty to help save the world and all, but because her friend is in trouble. A theme that has been drilled into the heads of the players the entire game. Good guys win, bad guys lose. Together with your friends, you can do anything. With Ganon defeated and the future of Hyrule saved, Link returns the Master Sword to its resting place and is transported back in time. Through his courage, the hero of time returns to the Hyrule of the past, presumably to warn a young Zelda of the evils looming in the future. The mission finished, Navi flies off into the distance, leaving Link alone and displaced once again. The first friend to come to him and the last to leave him, Navi is so much more than just a guide. Our green-clad hero may be the link across time, but Navi is the link between player and avatar, between our life in Hyrule and our life outside of it. Navi, and all she means to us, is the centerpiece of this game. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, if my, frankly, brilliant, masterful, well, let's say fantastic, friendship argument has not won you over to my side yet, I'd like to invite you to consider another example. Another game, a beautiful game, one of my own personal favorites. A game considered the world over to be a masterpiece worthy of being inducted into the literary canon. That's right, the literary canon, alongside such greats as Shakespeare, Hobbes, probably, and the guy who wrote those Bourne books, I'm sure. It's a fantastic game. And without Navi, and the friendship, and the theme of friendship from Ocarina of Time, it wouldn't exist. That's right. A game that takes loneliness, the loss of a friend, and makes it as viscerally unbearable as the moon crashing down on you. The name of that game, folks, is The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask. Remember, before the game even begins, we see that Link has left behind Hyrule and all his connections there, simply to find his old friend Navi in some vain hope that he will be able to have a sense of place again. This young boy, lonely and without purpose, enters a terrifying alternate world all because he wanted his friend back. That's why Skull Kid is such a powerful and memorable adversary. He's been through exactly what Link has, but has chosen to walk down an entirely different path with his pain. Truly, if Ocarina of Time is a testament to the positive effects the power and magnitude of friendship can have, then Majora's Mask shows just how devastating, depressing, and lonely losing that type of friendship can be. Well, court of the internet, the rest is up to you. I can go no further down this path with you. I'm afraid I am but a simple defense attorney who can talk. You know, I can talk a lot, can't really judge, and I'm not technically allowed to. So I'm going to offer an invitation that you fine people leave your verdict in the comments section below. Does Navi deserve to be hated, or has my argument opened some eyes? Has my argument maybe opened some roads to walk down? Maybe talk about theming and friendship and, you know. Man, I really ran out of steam there. Yeah, I was starting strong, but phew, man, it's just sitting here, you know, talking about. But yes, please leave your comments and your verdict in the section below, and I'll get back to them. In fact, we will discuss the verdict in a few weeks once I've tallied enough of the votes. It's in your capable hands, Internet. Don't let me down. Until then, I've been Malcolm Lockwell, the first, last, and only name in Internet defense. The cases keep flowing in, folks, and I don't see an end to it. So tune in next time. I'll see you in court.
Jumps the boogie, delivering eye jimmies. Slow through the muck with a clutch on a trident. Never give a fuck how far pie. You are dealing with a reborn icicle age poltergeist. Both rocks, I walk cypher, stuck at the